The same clan that once moved as one, now they're turning on each other. Because when the attack doesn't land, when the plot collapses, when the chosen one rises despite everything, the pressure doesn't disappear. It rebounds. It hits the senders. And the moment it returns to its source, the cracks show. Suddenly, the tight circle is full of private blame, whispers, finger pointing, guilt they can't admit, and consequences they cannot share evenly. Because wickedness is only unified when there's a target. Remove the target and they devour each other. That's what you're watching now. The collapse of a false bond, the unraveling of a hidden plan, the exposure of every secret motive they thought would stay concealed. You didn't have to lift a hand. You didn't have to clap back. You didn't have to fight dirty. You just had to survive. And in that survival, God handled the rest. Because when you are spiritually gifted and chosen by God, what goes out with your name on it returns to sender with their consequences attached. They thought that you would be an easy target, soft hearted, isolated, unprotected. They misread you because they only measured what they could see. They never factored in the one who covers you. When they sent harm, they expected a collapse. When they sent jealousy, they expected confusion. When they sent accusations, they expected silence. But God didn't let any of it land. Not a single word, not a single intention, not a single attempt to break your spirit. Instead, He caught it. And when He returned it, He didn't return it empty. He returned it amplified. Because when you are His, the harm aimed at you becomes a harvest aimed back at its source. This is the reversal season. You're not fighting. You're not even fighting. They're fighting the consequences they created. You're not even speaking, but they're choking on the stories they invented. You're not even watching, and they're unraveling under the weight of what they tried to bury you with. And here's the secret: they don't crumble because of what they did, they crumble because their intentions couldn't touch you. There is nothing more terrifying to the wicked than a failed attack. Because when it fails, someone has to take the blame. And their true unity was actually fake, held together by gossip and security and a shared enemy, which was you. You removed the enemy and watched the whole thing fall apart. Now, this is going to be another series. And you're going to understand that you didn't need revenge, you only needed survival. Every clan built on wrongdoing eventually collapses, not because someone exposed them, but because someone confronted them, not because darkness cannot maintain unity. Their bond was never love, it was convenience, it was comfort, it was mutual resentment of you. But when God sends everything back, the same people who once whispered together now whisper about each other. They can't hold hands when the fire is at their feet. You ever notice how they get loud with each other once their plan fails? That's not disagreement. That's spiritual pressure erupting. They're not arguing about you. They're arguing about why God didn't let them touch you. And here's where it gets deep. When wickedness returns home, it doesn't tap politely. It crashes through the door. It flips tables. It exposes conversations. It reveals loyalties they didn't know were fake. People who unite against goodness will eventually destroy one another, trying to escape accountability. And you're not even present in the room when they're falling apart. That's the protection of being chosen. Exposure is not revenge. Exposure is clarity for them. And the chosen always gets clarity anyway, right? People will start revealing themselves without meaning to. Their tone is shift. Their patterns are shift. Their energy slips out before they can hide it again. People who once shared information now keep secrets from each other. They fear being tied to someone else's downfall. Someone from inside the clan always breaks. Always. They can't handle the return to sender pressure, so they start revealing what was done behind your back. That's how the chosen gets truth, not because they look for it, but because someone can no longer carry the weight of hiding it. The group becomes disorganized, disloyalty grows, people start exposing each other to save themselves. And exposure is God saying, I saw what you couldn't. Now let me show you what was hidden. And once you see it, you never fear them again. Private harm brings public justice, where the chosen finally sees the full picture. Justice is not punishment, justice is restoration. It's the moment when everything they whispered becomes irrelevant. Everything they plotted becomes powerless. Everything they tried to dim gets illuminated. This is what I want to explore, right? Of divine justice, right? God's justice doesn't show off, it simply reveals truth. And once truth is revealed, your reputation restores itself, your path becomes clearer, your name gains weight, your presence becomes undeniable. Meanwhile, the clan that once moved in confidence now hides in discomfort. They can't face what they created. They can't outrun what returned. They can't pretend innocent when the consequences sit beside them like guests they invited. God didn't just return what they sent, He returned your dignity, your peace, and your power, and your future untampered. There is always a breaking point in every clan that's built on wrongdoing. It's not dramatic at first, it's subtle. Little micro fractures, tension, whispers, or gossip that turned into accusations, accusations that turn into the unraveling, and sometimes legal justice, right? Because when everything they directed at you circles back with consequences attack, the same people who were bold in the dark become terrified in the light. No malicious group survives the return, not one, because they weren't held together by loyalty. They were held together by mutual bitterness. They were bonded over their dislike of you, not over their love for each other. And when their target stops falling, they lose their glue. Every spiritual oppressor has one illusion they hide behind: false authority. Authority without integrity, authority without wisdom, authority without righteousness, and authority without truth. They lose control of the narrative, they lose control of the people they manipulate, and they lose control of the environment they dominate because the power was never real, it was borrowed. Borrowed from deception, borrowed from groupthink, borrowed from secrecy, borrowed from fear. When return to sender hits, all borrowed power gets repossessed. People stop being scared of them. Their tone no longer shakes anyone. Their tactics backfire. What once influenced the environment now triggers resistance. Their control slips through their fingers like sand. Those who once obeyed begin questioning. What else have they been lying about? False narratives dissolve when actual truth begins surfacing because the chosen don't defend themselves. God defends them through exposure. Every individual starts protecting their own interests. There is no loyalty left, only self preservation. The moment you stop seeing them as a threat and start seeing them as broken human beings, desperate to regain the control they never deserved. This is when the clan, this is going to be a public unveiling. And this is when the clan, whether it's at your job, I'm already doing a family series, but this is more in the public sector, right? This could be in politics, right? This could be in institutions. This can be in establishments, right? This can be in societies, secret societies. This could be in fraternities because when the this is when the clan that once hid behind roles, positions, and fake righteousness finally get viewed through a clear lens, and people begin seeing the manipulation, the lies, the hidden tactics, the hidden motives, the envy, the pressure tactics, the silent cruelty, the entitlement, the fake kindness, and the coded behavior. Before now, they could hide. But once return to sender activates, their true nature leaks through every interaction. They slip in public. When they slip in public, someone they try to manipulate pushes back, right? Someone they used to influence no longer takes them seriously. Someone they once intimidated stands firm. And that resistance exposes cracks they can't hide. And what about when the mask weakens? They start showing irritation they used to control. They display desperation they used to hide. They reveal fear they used to disguise as confidence. Their behavior contradicts their words. Everything they accused you of comes out of them. Everything they projected gets revealed as their own guilt. People distance themselves as the circle narrows, right? Because the truth is becoming obvious. And people finally see what you saw from the beginning. That's the justice, that's the clarity, that's the freedom. Now, When every deed gets paid back, right? It's not about punishment, it's about accountability. This is when the spiritual scoreboard gets balanced, not by you, not by confrontation, not by revenge, but by divine order. Every deed has a return date. Every action has a response, and every intention has a consequence. This is how the accounting unfolds. They feel the anxiety they once tried to give you. They experience the insecurity they projected onto you, and they encounter the confusion they tried to induce, because these are all emotional consequences. And there are social consequences. Their alliances break, their influence weakens, and their reputation suffers. And spiritually, there are also consequences, because what they sent out returns as a weight on their own lives, a heaviness on their path, and a blockage on their plans. Guilt, fear, self doubt, sleepless nights, and mental unraveling, that's the internal consequences. And it's not because you wished it, but because they created it, right? And the chosen live by, they live, we all live by, we don't have to avenge anything. You only have to stay aligned with your assignment. Everything else returns to its point of origin. And the final turning point is the moment after the collapse, after the exposure, after the accounting. This is where you rise. You understand? Not loudly, not arrogantly, not vengeful, but rightfully. Because the chosen don't rise because their enemies fall, they rise because their time has arrived. And as you begin to elevate, the energy clears, all spiritual interference breaks, your path brightens, your intuition sharpens, your restoration restores, and people begin to see your truth without you speaking. Your name carries weight without defending it. Your presence feels different and is calmer, stronger, and respected. Your purpose activates, your gifts expand, your confidence return, your influence increases, and your clarity awakens. And that's your purpose, right? And as your heart heals, you stop replaying the betrayal. You stop carrying the hurt. You stop explaining your innocence. You stop internalizing their actions. Your destiny unfolds. Doors will open without effort. Opportunities appear without pushing. Favor moves without manipulation. Your rise was delayed, not denied, and those who tried to bury you accidentally prepared the ground you will now grow from. Thank you for visiting my channel. Stay covered, stay conscious, stay undefeated. I'll see you on the next one.